Iceland is full of natural beauty, but if you only have time to visit one area, it has to be the south coast. We start with one of the most iconic mountains in Iceland, Vestrahorn, which is famous for its reflection. The mountain is surrounded by these weird, grassy, black sand dunes. Walking among these dunes was amazing and added to the whole otherworldly feel of this place. The dunes open up to this massive black sand beach called the Stokksnes Beach, which gets flooded at high tide and creates the famous reflection. The beach is known for its bird life, and you can often spot seals around the rocks near the lighthouse. Unfortunately, we didn't see any. What we did see on our way to the next place were Icelandic horses running between these cliffs, looking right out of a Western movie. We drove towards the largest glacier in Iceland and Europe, Vestmannaeyjar, which is so huge that it covers 10% of the country and creates the famous Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon. The lagoon is filled with icebergs that have broken off from the glacier and over time created this lake, which is 248 meters deep and the deepest lake in Iceland. The icebergs drift slowly towards the mouth of the lagoon before entering the Atlantic Ocean. There's a lot of wildlife in the area. You can see all sorts of seabirds sitting on and flying around the icebergs, and sometimes even seals floating around. And these icebergs don't drift far, actually just across the road, and create the next place on our list, the Diamond Beach. Why is it called the Diamond Beach, you ask? It's because of the countless icebergs that look like diamonds scattered along the shore. The whole place is just surreal. Watching these huge blocks of ice sway gently as the waves crashed against them was kind of mesmerizing. And the landscape of this place changes daily as new icebergs are added by the lagoon and the old ones are consumed by the sea. The next day, we started by driving to Vik, the most famous town on the south coast. The most prominent landmark in the town is the Vik Church, also known as Vikurkirkja, which stands on top of a hill and offers great panoramic views. Vik has its own black sand beach, and this is actually the same beach which continues around this cliff to become the most famous black beach in Iceland, Reynisfjara. The town is a great place to stock up on supplies or just simply buy some local Icelandic goodies. But what we definitely recommend is the hike up this cliff. It's a relatively easy and short hike and takes you to the top of this tabletop mountain. From here, you can see the Reynisdrangar Stacks on one side, the Dyrhólaey cliffs on the other, and a bird's eye view of the black sand beach where we will head next. golden hour was just beginning as we drove down the coast and reach the iconic Reynisfjara black sand beach. Reynisfjara has its own miniature version of the Vic church, but what it's famous for are these hexagonal basalt columns which look man-made but aren't. In fact, these were formed by slow cooling of lava by the cold seawater. And of course, the star attraction, Reynisdrangar Sea Stacks, these huge basalt pillars that rise dramatically from the sea. Like most places in Iceland, these stacks have a mythical story too. According to Icelandic folklore, these stacks were once trolls who were caught in the sunlight before they could reach their cave and turned to stone. The summer golden hour in Iceland lasts a few hours, so we still had time to squeeze in another place. Just a few kilometers down the road, towards the west, is Dyrhólaey. It's located near the Katla volcano, which is one of the most powerful active volcanoes in Iceland. At the top of the cliff, there is a historical lighthouse. Built in 1927 and still operational. Our next destination is another few kilometers down the road and is strikingly different from everything else. The DC-3 plane wreck at Sólheimasandur. The hike to the wreck is 7 kilometers both ways, so keep that in mind and make sure to follow the trail marked by posts, else you could easily lose your way. In 1973, a US Navy DC-3 crashed on this beach. Fortunately, everyone survived. The plain wreck, surrounded by the barren black land, makes for a hauntingly beautiful and eerie landscape. If you don't want to walk, there is another option: ATV tours that explore the wreck and the surrounding area. Miles of emptiness all around the wreck creates a desolate landscape that adds to the sense of isolation surrounding the wreck. One can only imagine what the survivors experienced when they climbed out of this wreck. The next place on our list is known as the best kept secret of Iceland, Vestmannaeyjar. Not sure why, maybe because it's a short ferry ride away from the mainland. It's home to one of the most wondrous volcanic rock formations, the Elephant Rock, which looks exactly like a gigantic elephant head. Although it does not have a name, the rock formation behind the elephant reminds me of the Night King's horse from Game of Thrones. You can also go on short boat tours that take you close to the Elephant Rock. Vestmannaeyjar is an archipelago of 15 islands and 30 rock stacks, giving it a very Avatar or Jurassic Park vibe. The surrounding cliffs are a birdwatcher's paradise, and the islands are home to the largest population of puffins in the world. At the far end of the main island, or the home island as the locals call it, is the Puffin Lookout. A trail goes around the cliff and offers great panoramic views. In 1973, a volcano called Eldfell erupted on the island. The residents were evacuated and the buildings were covered in ash, giving it the nickname Pompeii of the North. Another great place on the island to check out is the Vikin Beach. It has a unique looking bay and is another great place to see puffins and other seabirds. For us, it was time to head back and catch the ferry back to the mainland. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.